Monterey, California. You're watching American History TV all weekend, every weekend on C-SPAN 3.
We love you all, man, because this is very groovy, man. Monterey is very groovy, man. This is something, man. This is our generation, man. All you people, we're all together, man. And it's groovy. And dig yourselves, because it's really groovy.
Monterey Pop Festival is a 3-day musical event in June of 1967, sort of kicked off that Summer of Love, but it really was the first real big sort of rock and roll musical festival to happen here. The city of Monterey, pretty conservative community at that point, and there was a lot of concern about these, what they called then beatniks. The word hippie was a new word at that point, you know, and in those past years or so, there have been all these news of this young sort of hippie movement, you know, and there have been a lot of things in the news over the past several months of this Summer of Love that was happening in San Francisco, and no one quite understood what that was all about. And you know, these kids with boys with long hair and the drug thing, and so they were really concerned about this. But the chief of police felt so confident, so comfortable about this group that were here, these kids who really caused any problems, that he actually released a big number of his policemen to go down to Cannery Row because there was a fire in one of the old canneries that same night. He sent these policemen to go down there and monitor the fire, because he felt fine with what was going on down here at the festival that particular night. Well, what's great about the Monterey Pop Festival, it wasn't just rock and roll music, so they brought in all different genres of music here. There was African jazz from Hugh Masekela, there was soul music, Lou Rawls sang here on Friday night, and one of the biggest hits of the entire festival was Otis Redding. And most of the audience, honestly, had no idea who Otis Redding was, and he had been singing in soul music for many years before that. He came here and just blew this whole place away.
I've been loving you too long.
He actually died just a few months after that festival in a plane crash. So there was a lot of they brought a lot of different ideas of music here to the festival, and I think it really kind of opened up people's eyes, not just the people that were here, but also people that lived in the Monterey area. One of the musicians that Paul McCartney suggested was a young African-American man who was not well known in this country, but very well known at that point in London by the name of Jimi Hendrix. And Hendrix grew up in Seattle, was in the Army. In fact, Hendrix was in the Army in 1961 and was stationed at Fort Ord here in Monterey. And so he knew Monterey, had been here, and he played here in Monterey at the Monterey Festival, and he really, and no pun intended, ignited this place. He takes lighter fluid, pours on his guitar, and then lights the guitar on fire, and gets on his knees and burns the guitar, and then he smashes it up and throws it up into the audience. And people were just, you know, stunned by this. And you still see parts of sort of burn marks on the stage here, which really is kind of part of Monterey Pop mythology. And it is exactly where he was, when he did that. And the story was that Hendrix came down the next day after the festival and carved his name in there. But the truth is, there was actually a covering on the stage here. They put a wooden cover on this floor here, and which you can see in the film. And it was somebody else a few years later came and actually carved the name underneath there. Monterey Pop Festival was different. It was a different kind of audience. It really opened Monterey's eyes to, yeah, we can combine these two kind of cultures together. And although they were very unsure about it, but once they saw there wasn't really a lot of problems, I think it was really good for Monterey.
Throughout the weekend, American History TV is featuring Monterey, California. Our city's tour staff recently traveled there to learn about its rich history. Learn more about Monterey and other stops on our tour at cspan.org/citiestour. You're watching American History TV all weekend, every weekend on C-SPAN 3. C-SPAN takes you on the road to the White House and into the classroom. This year, our Student Cam documentary contest asks students to tell us what issues they want to hear from the presidential candidates. Follow C-SPAN's Road to the White House coverage and get all the details about our Student Cam contest at cspan.org. Each week, American History TV brings you archival films that help provide context for today's public affairs issues. Terrorism, A Personal Threat is a 1986 U.S. Air Force film that documents several terror attacks, including the October 1983 suicide